So the Everett Elks are back once again, but unfortunately we're out of players. I don't know how this always happens, but we're full of 36 overall players that are basically 0 overalls. They're the lowest overall player that you could have on a team, and we got to somehow turn this team right here into Stanley Cup champions. And of course, we're going to do that through a wheel. So every location an active NHL player is from is on this wheel right here, and we're going to be building it from locations players are from. So it looks like we're going to be starting with Finland. Now Finland's actually a great place to land on because when you get an entire country to select from, you're almost guaranteed to get an elite player. However, when it comes to places like Canada and the United States, we have provinces and states. We don't get the option to select from the entire country. So just looking at what's available for Finland, you got Barakov, Rantanen, Sebastian Aho, Granlund, Teravainen. But you know who I'm going to be going with? I got to go with Mikko Rantanen. He's an elite player. I mean, you can't go wrong with Barakov either. But you know what? I want to bring some scoring onto the team early, so that's why I'm selecting Rantanen. So at the very first selection for the Everett Elks, we're going to see Mikko Rantanen join the team here. A nice 94 overall that's going to provide a lot of scoring for the team, but we're still a long ways away from hoisting a Stanley Cup. So although we have a goal scorer here in Mikko Rantanen, I don't think that's going to be enough for us to record any points this season. And when I say points, I don't mean regular season points. I mean Mikko Rantanen recording 1 point as in 1 goal or 1 assist. This guy might not even take a shot this season because the team around him is so bad, it's going to be hard for him to go coast to coast. But while I go ahead and simulate the entire season here, if you're part of the 80% of people that aren't subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Subscribe right now. Stick on the Ice is still sick here. I don't know how I'm still sick after this long, but I am. And the only thing that's going to make me feel better is you subscribing to the channel. So if you haven't already, make sure you do that right now. Also, go follow my Twitch. The Stick on the Ice streaming arc is about to begin. So it looks like Buffalo's making a bit of an all-in push here as they're going to be acquiring Ryan O'Reilly and Ryan McDonough from the Nashville Predators in exchange for Zach Benson. So Ryan O'Reilly, you're headed back to Buffalo. I'm sorry to hear that. So the game really froze with 5 games left in the season. So we're going to call season number 1 done here. We're moving on to season number 2. We got to spin the wheel again. So here we go with spin number 2. There's a ton of options we can land on. The wheel's coming to a close here, and it looks like we're going to be selecting from Austria. Now I know for a fact there's not too many NHL players from Austria. Now there's only one active Austrian player in the NHL, and that's Marco Rossi, so he's going to be the next addition to the team. So I feel like it goes without saying, now that we've selected Marco Rossi, Austria is going to be removed from the wheel here, seeing as he is the only player from Austria in the NHL right now. So yeah, Marco Rossi, welcome to the team. You and Mikko Rantanen, that's actually going to be a pretty decent first line. I mean, we still have a Joe NHL beside you, but you know what? It's a good start here. So the question isn't, are we going to score a couple goals this season? Are we going to see Marco Rossi and Mikko Rantanen record some points? The real question is, are we going to be able to get through the entire season? Is the game going to freeze and crash again? We're about to find out. Okay, so this season we only got through 11 games. I don't know what's with this game freezing all of a sudden, and the previous 2 videos I've done in a similar format to this, I usually will freeze once. Sometimes I don't even freeze at all. But nope, we froze in season number 1 and season number 2. Let's add some more players to this team. So what location are we going to be landing on next? Basically anywhere in Canada, we're going to be landing an elite player. We're getting Texas. Not too familiar who's from Texas, but you know what? I feel like we're going to get a good player. I'm not going to lie, I was expecting a lot more from Texas. Basically our top 2 options here are Seth Jones and Blake Coleman. I think we're going to go with Seth Jones. He'll be a decent piece to our defense. Plus I think Blake Coleman's only like an 84 overall. And later on in this video, we should be able to get a forward who's better than an 84 overall. Now I'm just going to double check with the Calgary Flames because if Blake Coleman is like an 85, 86 overall, we might select him here. He's sitting at 85. What's Seth Jones? Let me just double check with him. I think he's like an 86 overall. Okay, we're going with Blake Coleman. I think I'd rather have an 85 overall forward than an 86 overall defenseman. Not really too sure if that makes any sense, but in my head it does, and that's all that matters. So Blake Coleman, welcome to the team. So we officially have one forward line. That's going to consist of Marco Rossi, Mikko Rantanen, and Blake Coleman. Let's just get through one season though. I want to see what this offensive core can do. I shouldn't really say offensive core, I mean offensive line as in 3 players, because that's all we have right now. So I'm happy to say we finally made it through season number 1 here. The Everett Elks 0-82 here. We picked up 23 goals this season. The boys are flying, and we only allowed 1,023. So only a 1,000 goal differential. We're heading in the right direction. No, but seriously, we had a goal differential of 1,000. This team's not good. Blake Coleman, somehow you led the team over Mikko Rantanen. Bro is a 94 overall. You're only an 85. I don't know how he had more points than you, but you know what? We're not going to worry about it. And the goaltending numbers, these are numbers. These are certainly numbers. Now, it doesn't really matter who won the Stanley Cup here, but it was the Colorado Avalanche. Enough wasting time. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel again. So we got Texas with our last spin. Didn't really help us too much. Give me either an elite American state or give me a Canadian province. I'll take British Columbia. And when I'm talking about elite elite American states, I'm talking about like Michigan. Like, I'm guaranteed to get a phenomenal player if we get Michigan. Now, taking a look at British Columbia here, there's a ton of great prospects. We could go with a guy like Connor Bedard, but that actually makes no sense, especially when guys like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins are available, because they're certainly a higher overall. Sam Reinhart's an interesting pickup. Morgan Riley, Matt Barzal. There's a handful of guys we could choose from. I'm kind of leaning towards Matt Barzal because I would like to bring an elite playmaker to the team, but Shea Theodore is available here. Devon Taves is available. There's a lot of great defensemen that we could pick up right here. You couldn't really go wrong with any of these selections. Now, we have a ton of great options. Shea Theodore, 89 overall defenseman. He would be great for us. We could go back to the Colorado Avalanche, pick up Devon Taves, another 89 overall. But you know what? I think we got to go with Matt Barzal. We got to increase the offense a little bit here. And he's going to be a great playmaker for us in the future. So 89 overall, Matt Barzal. Welcome to the Everett Elks. You're going to be leading the offense. Eventually, we do have to pick up some defensemen. We've taken 4 straight forwards. No matter what happens, with our next selection, we're bringing in a defenseman. So I guess it wouldn't hurt if I actually paid attention to goaltenders as well. Martin Jones, Tristan Jarry, Boursois, and Aiden Hill were all available here. But you know what? I feel like we're going to get a better goaltender in the future. Basically, all we have to do is land on Russia, and we're going to be getting Shesterkin, Sorokin, or Vasilevsky. Can't go wrong with any of those guys. So we got ourselves a new first line. It's going to be Matt Barzal, Mikko Rantanen, and Blake Coleman. Marco Rossi's moving down to the second line. He's got 2 Joe NHLs to play with. One of them's a left defenseman, one of them's a right defenseman. Why are they playing forward minutes? I couldn't tell you, but it doesn't matter. We're going 0-82. Now, it's not much of a surprise. Once again, we're going 0-82 here, but I'm really surprised after adding another forward. We're only scoring a few more goals. We scored 26 this season. Also, I'm pretty sure the amount of goals allowed caps out at 1,023. It's happened 2 years in a row now. That's probably the max that you can actually allow in a season. But things are right this time around, as Mikko Rantanen is going to be leading the way. He's got 14 goals, 10 helpers for 24 points. Blake Coleman, 22. Matt Barzal, 21. But Marco Rossi, 8 points with 0 overalls at your side. I mean, I'll take it. That's definitely some good numbers right there. And to finish off this season, who would have seen this team winning the Stanley Cup? Once again, it's the Colorado Avalanche taking down the Tampa Bay Lightning in 5 games. I'm pretty sure I've seen this matchup before. Alright, so I said that our next spin we would be bringing in a defenseman, barring where we land. I mean, if we landed in Alaska, that means we have to bring Jeremy Swayman, but we're landing in France. Not really too sure what the French are giving us. Looks like the French aren't going to help us in the slightest here. We're bringing in Bellemare or Texier, whoever's the highest overall. So if I'm right, Texier is an 81 overall, which I believe is higher than Bellemare. So that's who we're going to be bringing to the team here. I believe it's 80 overall Texier. Yeah, welcome to the team. I'm just going to double check with Bellemare, though. I'm pretty sure he's like a 78 overall, maybe pushing a 79. I don't think he's higher than that. Yeah, he's only a 79 overall. So Texier, you're going to be the player we add here. Now, as long as we don't have a defenseman here, I'm not even too sure if we're going to be able to pick up an overtime loss, because once you get past the forward core, the defense isn't going to be stopping anyone. Basically, all you have to do is get in between Blake Coleman, Matt Barzal, Mikko Rantanen, and then you're going to have a guaranteed goal. So it looks like we got ourselves a big time trade, and this is just a very weird one. Dallas is trading Logan Stankoven for Severson and Boone Jenner. I would never make that trade, but you know what? Dallas, go off. Now, it was another 0-82 season for the team, but you can definitely see some progression. Matt Barzal, 37 points leading the way. Mikko Rantanen, 34. Blake Coleman, 27. We're starting to score the puck a bit more. You'll love to see it. And in the Stanley Cup final, the Winnipeg Jets sweeping the Toronto Maple Leafs. 2 teams that are more than likely out in the first round. I know for a fact Winnipeg already is. We're still waiting on Toronto, though. Austin Matthews is out for Game 6. That team's not winning 2 in a row without Matthews. Then again, I also thought that Toronto was going to lose 6-1 in game number 5, and they won an OT, so who knows what's actually going to happen. But let's not worry about the Maple Leafs here. We got to continue to rebuild our team, and we need to bring some defensemen to the team. We're off to Alberta, and that means we're bringing in an elite defenseman. So there's tons of great players we can select from. Taylor Hall, Braden Point, William Nylander, Spurgeon, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, Jake DeBrusk. But it's a no-brainer. We're taking Cale Makar. So the first defenseman that we're going to be adding to the team here is the best defenseman in the entire game, 95 overall Cale Makar. I think we might be able to pick up an OT loss this time around. In case you were wondering, these are the goaltenders we could have went with: Carter Hart, Stuart Skinner, Logan Thompson. Yeah, I'd rather have Cale Makar. There's no question about it. So Cale Makar, you're going to be the first piece to the defense here. Are you going to help us get an OT loss? I think it might be possible. I think there is a possibility that this team can somehow make it to overtime. The odds of that are very, very, very low, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. So we might not have made it to overtime and win 0-82 once again, but Matt Barzal is having the best season we've seen yet. He's picking up 48 points, and Cale Makar in his first season with the team, 35 points, 7 goals, 28 helpers. I definitely can't complain about that. To cap off this season, we're going to see the Vancouver Canucks make it into the Stanley Cup final, and they're taking down the Pittsburgh Penguins in a 5-game series. So I think what we're in desperate need of right now is a goaltender. I need one of the best in the entire game. I don't think Texas has given us that. We've already landed on Texas once, and I wasn't too happy last time around. So last time we landed on Texas, we passed on Seth Jones in order to pick up Blake Coleman. This time we're actually going to be taking Seth Jones. He's going to be joining the team here. So we passed up on Seth Jones once. We're not going to be passing up on him again here. He's going to be joining the team. Another right defenseman. We don't really need Seth Jones. We actually need a left defenseman. But down the road, if he's playing third pairing minutes for us at an 86 overall, what can I really complain about? So we're going to have Seth Jones play on the left side this season, even though he is a right defenseman, because there's no point having him play with a 0 overall player. Allow him to play with Cale Makar, and this team might see a bit of success, maybe even win a game. I mean, we're not winning a game with a 0 overall goaltender. That's not happening, but a man can dream. So it's that time of the video where Detroit goes all in and trades a lot of their good prospects. Ryan Strome and Cam Fowler are both going to be acquired for 2 prospects. And obviously, we know Detroit's not done there. Seth Jones and Tyler Johnson are both going to be acquired. So yes, there is 2 Seth Jones in the league. I don't eliminate the player from the league. I just copy them onto our team. Now, it might be another winless season for the team, going 0-82 once again, but we're seeing major progression. Mikko Rantanen, 30 goals, 32 assists for 62 points. Barzell's picking up 52. Blake Coleman, 49. Cale Makar's got 47. And Seth Jones, in your first season, I am expecting more than 20 points. I'm going to be completely honest. Bro, you were on the ice for 30 minutes a game playing with these guys right here. I do expect more than 20 points. But with us not winning any games, obviously we're not going to be winning the Stanley Cup. This one hurts. The St. Louis Blues losing in the Stanley Cup final to the Rangers. You hate to see it, you really do. But we can definitely bounce back. Give us Alaska and give me Jeremy Swayman, or give me Russia, and I'm going to have a ton of great players to choose from. It looks like we're going to North Dakota. Okay, so North Dakota, this ain't it. I don't know who any of these players are. I'm taking whoever's the highest overall. Alright, well this certainly isn't it. Kelvin, I guess you're going to be joining the team here at an 86 overall. I mean, it could be worse than an 86 overall, but it also could be a lot better. Like, basically, any NHL player would be better than this 76 overall. But you know what? If he can play some big minutes for our team, who cares? He's better than a 0 overall. So although our team does look a lot better here, I think it's safe to say we're not making it to overtime until we get a goaltender. We still have a goal differential of like minus 900. We're getting outscored by 10 goals per game. Something's definitely got to change in the goaltending department over the next couple spins. Well, guys, you know what happened? We were over a goal per game. We scored 111 goals this season, 1.35, still allowed 1,023. So yeah, we're still not playing good defense by any means, and we're still 0-82. But you know what? We're finally scoring. And on top of being over a goal per game, Mikko Rantanen was almost a point a game, 81 points here, 40 goals, 41 helpers. This man was absolutely locked in this season. I didn't think he could be this good with the roster around him. But you know what? I guess it helps when you have guys like Matt Barzell and Cale Makar at your side. Meanwhile, Clevin had 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points. So yeah, he was kind of just out there. Okay, this just doesn't make sense. The Vancouver Canucks sweeping the Boston Bruins. I can see these two teams matching up in the postseason, but I can't see the Vancouver Canucks sweeping the Boston Bruins. That's just unrealistic. Meanwhile, the Washington Capitals made it to the conference finals. So yeah, there is that. So we got to keep on adding players here, and a goaltender would make a massive difference to the team. Where are we going to be landing next? Russia. Vasilevsky, welcome to the team. The one thing I find really wild about Russian NHL players, 90% of the time, they're elite. Ovi, Malkin, Kucherov, Panarin, Tarasenko, Kuznetsov, Buchnevich, Kirill Kaprizov, Dodonov, Seshnikov, Dmitry Orlov. Like, there are so many good players. You got Nichushkin down here. You got Sergachev down here. You keep going down further. You got Kuzmenko. Yeah, there's just a lot of good Russian players. I feel like if you're a Russian player and you come to the NHL, I feel like there's a very good chance you're going to be a top 6 player. And then I don't even know what they're doing over there for goaltenders because it makes no sense. Bobrovsky, Varlamov, Vasilevsky, Gordiev, Shesterkin, Sorokin, Samsonov, Kochetkov, and then you got Askarov in the mix there. How Russia produces such amazing goaltenders does not make sense to me. But as I said earlier, we're going with Vasilevsky. That's a no-brainer. So with Vasilevsky added to the team, I'm not looking for this team to lose in overtime. I'm looking for us to win a game. We have a 93 overall goaltender in between the pipes, one of the best in the entire game. I believe he is the highest overall goaltender. I'm just assuming he's ahead of Shesterkin and Sorokin. So yeah, Vasilevsky, let's see what you can do here. And I'm happy to say that we're no longer a 0 overall team. With the addition of Vasilevsky, we're up to a 9 overall. Things are changing for the Everett Elks. So Andrei Vasilevsky, how big of an impact are you going to have on this team? Well, we're about to find that out. The Everett Elks got their goaltender. Now it's time for them to take over the league. So it looks like the Buffalo Sabres are making an all-in push here for the Stanley Cup, trading Zach Benson over to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Chris Letang. Well, I'm happy to say the Everett Elks saw some success. We didn't just lose a couple games in overtime. We won a game, or 2, or 3, or 9. A 970-3 record. The offense was worse this season. How does that make any sense? Didn't we score 111 goals last season? We went from 111 to 103. The goaltending was way better though. Not only are we below 1,000 goals against, we're actually below 500 goals against. We're allowing only 5.89. This team's making big strides. So I'm not necessarily sure why the offense slowed up this season, but you know what? We don't care about the offense. We want to see the goaltending. Vasilevsky, a 952-3 record, a 911 and a 456. Considering what's in front of them, these actually aren't that bad of numbers. But of course, with a 970-3 record, we're not going to be making the playoffs. Colorado certainly is though, and they're going to be taking home the Stanley Cup in 6 games. So picking up Vasilevsky did wonders for this team, but we're clearly a long ways away from winning a Stanley Cup. So we got to keep on adding players. We're off to Rhode Island. Now, when I landed on Rhode Island, I could not name you any players from the NHL that were from Rhode Island, but Noel Acciari's one of them, so I guess that's who we're going to be bringing to the team. So I'm not expecting Noel Acciari to be doing too much on this team. He's a 79 overall, but you know what? He is going to help the second line. So with the addition of Noel Acciari, we officially have 2 lines for the forward core. Marco Rossi, Texier, and Noel Acciari are going to be holding it down that second line. So it was an 8-win season for the Everett Elks this time around, 872-2, but the offense was better this season. I'm happy to say that. 129 goals scored for 1.57 goals per game. But I really can't complain about what the offense did this season. Like, they were producing. Noel Acciari, 31 points here. That was a good season from you. But it wasn't good enough in order for us to make the playoffs. We're going to see Boston taking home the Stanley Cup, taking the LA Kings down to 5-game series. So as I said, we're about 10 players away, so we got to keep on adding players to this team, and it looks like we're off to Denmark. Now, although Denmark doesn't really have any superstar players, there's a lot of great options here. We got Ehlers, Lars Eller, Bjorkstrand, Fredrik Andersen, and I'm not going to lie, I'm really contemplating picking up Freddie Andersen here, because then we have 2 elite goaltenders and we never have to worry about having a backup. I mean, granted, Ehlers is a great option here. This is going to be a tough call to make. So here's the call we have to make. 85 overall Nikola Ehlers to be one of the better players on this team, or do we go over to the Carolina Hurricanes and bring Freddie Andersen onto the team? Then we have 2 goaltenders and we're guaranteed to win a lot more games. Like Freddie Andersen, he's an 88 overall backup. He'll be behind Vasilevsky, so we'll have a 93 and an 88. I think this is a no-brainer. By having 2 good goaltenders, we're guaranteed to get into the postseason about 5 years sooner. Because we saw what Vasilevsky did to this team. So now that we have 2 goaltenders that we can actually rely on and not a 0 overall in between the pipes, we're going to see some success. And that success is starting right now. We're up to a 23 overall. So we got our 2 goaltenders for the rest of the video. It's going to be Vasilevsky and Freddie Andersen here. We're going to be winning games. There's no question about that. All we have to do from here on out is improve the forward core and get the defense a bit better. But I wouldn't be overly surprised now that we have 2 goaltenders if we're looking at a 15-win season. Okay, Freddie Andersen, I was expecting a lot better than this. A 970-3 record. We have 2 elite goaltenders. I mean, granted, the defense is way better this season. We're down below 5 goals a game, down to 4.41. But even still, I guess we can't score, so that doesn't help us. But I did think we would somehow win 10 games this season. Okay, so Freddie Andersen, maybe this wasn't your fault. You had a 922 and a 359. Vasilevsky, you had a 907 and a 446. So if Vasilevsky was slightly better, we probably would have had 10 wins. Because Freddie Andersen, there's not much more you can do. You had a 922. And to cap off this season, we're going to see an all-Canadian Stanley Cup final with the Winnipeg Jets taking down the Toronto Maple Leafs. So now that we got our 2 goaltenders, just give me superstar forwards and superstar defensemen, and then we'll be alright. We're getting Alberta again, we're adding some more elite players. So that's twice now that we've got Alberta. As we know what the options here are, Taylor Hall, Braden Point, William Nylander, of course Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, but I think I got to go with Braden Point here. I believe he is the highest overall out of all these players right here. Him or William Nylander would be pretty close. So we can either go with Braden Point here or William Nylander, but I think we are going to be taking Braden Point. He's a 92 overall. William Nylander, he's a 92 as well. I mean, there really isn't a mistake you can make here. They're 2 great players, but I think I'm going to go with Braden Point just because he can't play center. We have enough wingers on the team right now. We need some more center depth. I mean, that's a pretty stupid statement to make considering we only have 7 forwards right now. We actually need a bit more of everything, but you know what? I'll take Braden Point over William Nylander. Same difference. So with the acquisition of Braden Point, he's going to be joining the first line. It's going to be him, Mikko Rantanen, and Blake Coleman on that top line. And then Marco Rossi, Matt Barzal, and Alex Texier are going to hold it down the second. So it's the best season that the Everett Elks have ever had. A 12-win season here. 12, 66, and 4. I think we're only about 8 players away. I'm saying 8 players away like it's only 1 or 2. Like, we need to add a bottom 6 and then 2 more defensive pairings. That actually ends up being 10 players. So yeah, we're actually 10 players away. But you know what? We're working on it. Braden Point, 72 points. Mikko Rantanen, 69. Well, the goaltending numbers from these guys, not too bad. Vasilevsky picked up a shutout. I need to know which team we shut out. I don't care who won the Stanley Cup. It looks like it was the Colorado Avalanche. Who did we shut out? So out of all the teams in the NHL, why does this seem actually realistic? Us shutting out the Anaheim Ducks. I thought it was going to be some team like the Rangers, Colorado Avalanche, something that would make absolutely no sense. But us shutting out the Anaheim Ducks, beating them 4-0, why does that seem semi-realistic? You know what? I didn't need to take those shots in the Anaheim Ducks. They're improving. I mean, no, they aren't. They've gotten worse the past couple years. Newfoundland and Labrador, where are you going to be giving us? So although neither of these guys are superstars, we get to choose between Dawson Mercer and Alex Newhook. You know what? We have enough playmakers on the team. We need another sniper, and that's exactly what Dawson Mercer is going to provide for us. Now, but in all seriousness about the Anaheim Ducks, why do I feel like that team is one step away every single year? Like, I've been saying, oh, they're 1 year away, they're 1 year away, and I've said that for the past 4 years. Eventually, you're just not 1 year away. You got to rebuild it. Dawson Mercer, welcome to the Everett Elks. New Jersey was another team I always said was 1 year away, and then they finally made the playoffs. And then the following year, they missed the playoffs. So yeah, maybe they're still 1 year away. So the forward core continues to be improved here. Matt Barzal, Dawson Mercer, and Marco Rossi can be that second line. Mercer's going to be picking up a handful of goals for us this season. Are we looking at a potential 20-win season? It might happen. Am I gassing this team up too much? Absolutely. But you know what? Nothing's going to change. All right, where is he? Dawson Mercer. You absolute jabroni. You don't know what you did to this team, did you? You have ruined everything we've built up over the past couple seasons. Our record, 574-3. We got significantly worse replacing a 0 overall player with Dawson Mercer. From here on out, Dawson Mercer, you're playing 4th line minutes by yourself. Like, that man single-handedly made this team lose an additional 7 games this season. I didn't even think that would be possible. We replaced a 0 overall player with Dawson Mercer and got worse. I can't believe that just happened. So our next spin had us landing on Pennsylvania, and that means we have 5 players we can choose from here. Trocheck, Brandon Saad, Lafferty, Logan Cooley, John Gibson. We already have 2 goaltenders, so we don't need John Gibson. I mean, there's a pretty logical selection here. Vincent Trocheck. Now, not too much consideration went to this selection. Vincent Trocheck, you're easily the best guy we have to pick up here, so we're going to be bringing you to the team 86 overall. If you make us worse than we were last season, I'm cutting you, and I'm cutting Dawson Mercer. I'm not allowing you guys to hold us back. So I wasn't kidding when I said Dawson Mercer's now on the 4th line. That man is going to be sitting here for the rest of the video. I don't care that he could be the 3rd line center for us. No, that man disappointed me so much. He's on the 4th line from here on out. So we didn't see more success this season because Vincent Trocheck was on the team. We saw more success because I moved Dawson Mercer down to the 4th line and he played less minutes. I'm not trying to start some Dawson Mercer slander, but I will say you replaced a 0 overall player, my guy, and somehow you made the team worse. That is so incredibly impressive. Okay, Noel Chari, you let Dawson Mercer have more points than you. He has 2 0 overalls at his side. What are you doing out there? I don't even know what to say about that. Like, Dawson Mercer, you might be my biggest ops of all time now. I mean, you never actually will be because Severson does still exist. And that man just never progresses in this game. He only regresses. It actually makes no sense. The Rangers are Stanley Cup champions. Let's spin the wheel once again and add another player. Like, I got nothing against Dawson Mercer other than the fact that he did make our team worse. We're adding from Ontario. We're getting a superstar player guaranteed. No doubt about it. Yeah, we know who we're adding. Now, Ontario was produced a lot of great talents. Connor McDavid, welcome to the team. I'm not naming anyone else. So while I add Connor McDavid to the team, we're changing things up here. Comment Dawson Mercer. I can't be spreading a bunch of Dawson Mercer hate. He's a good player and all. Hopefully he hasn't done anything that's morally incorrect. I don't think he has, but it's hard to keep up with everybody in the NHL nowadays. It seems like every other day somebody's doing something wrong. So Connor McDavid's going to be helping this team quite a bit. It's going to be McDavid, Barzal, and Rantanen on the 1st line, Trocheck, Point, and Blake Coleman on the 2nd. That's a top 6 we can definitely work with. Meanwhile, the 3rd line's going to see something like this. Marco Rossi, Noel Chari, Alex Texier, Dawson Mercer, you're staying on that 4th line. The one thing we do have to do over the next couple seasons, though, is add a couple more defensemen, because right now we really only have 2 defensemen, Seth Jones and Cale Makar. I mean, we do technically have Tyler Clevin, but let's be real. He's a 76 overall. We can do better. Well, I'm happy to say that the Everett Elks are legit this season. 20 wins, 58 losses, 4 OT losses. We're improving big time here. The scoring is fantastic for the team. 201 goals, 2.45 goals per game. Yeah, the defense still sucks, but you know what? We're scoring goals now. All we have to do is improve that defense. Now, I really shouldn't be gassing up our goals for because we're still not that great of an offensive team, but Mikko Rantanen, you're leading the way here. 86 points, 41 goals, 45 helpers. Connor McDavid, 79 points. You were the missing piece, but then again, it's Connor McDavid. You're going to help every situation. The one thing I will say about this team is the save percentages are not good. Vasilevsky an 896 and Freddie Anderson an 897. These are horrible numbers considering what I saw earlier in this video. Like, these guys went from posting 910 and 920s to 890s. That's unacceptable. But shout out to the Vancouver Canucks, losing 2 games in the playoffs. They swept the second round, conference finals, and Stanley Cup final. The only team to beat them in 2 games, the Calgary Flames. That makes sense. So with this next spin, we're going to be selecting a defenseman no matter what, unless I can get like a superstar player like Nikita Kucherov or something. We're off to New Jersey. Hopefully New Jersey has some great defensemen. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't look like New Jersey has any superstar defensemen. They have Johnny Hockey, JVR, Tony DeAngelo, Trevor Van Riemsdyk. I mean, that could be a decent pickup for us. They have Matthias Samuelsson down a bit further. There's a lot to consider with the players available, but you know what? I think we're going to go off the board a little bit. Now, out of all the options we have here, I'm going to be loyal to my word, and we're going to pick a defenseman. We're going with Trevor Van Riemsdyk, a great defensive defenseman. He's going to play on the right side for us. I am going to pass up on Johnny Hockey and JVR, but you know what? A good defensive defenseman, they're hard to come by these days. So we have a nice defensive defenseman here in Trevor Van Riemsdyk. He's going to be teaming up with Clevin. They're going to be a decent enough second pairing. I mean, they're going to keep the puck out of our net sometimes. The only thing that's going to be holding us back right now is that third pairing and our fourth line, because we still have 2-0 overalls alongside Dawson Mercer. And how Dawson Mercer was playing earlier in this video, he was looking like a 0 overall. Okay, that's the last time I take a shot at Dawson Mercer. I actually think he's going to turn out to be a good top 6 NHL player. So, I mean, I don't know why I'm dissing him as much as I am. Okay, before I show you what happened here, I want to say we're not dead last in the entire league. We're 30th here, but let's check out who the 2 teams below us are. The Ottawa Senators, okay, I can buy that one. You know what? The Ottawa Senators haven't been looking good the past couple years. And then this team finished with 28 wins. The New York Rangers. Yeah, so we're just going to say this season was just completely broken from start to finish. Connor McDavid, 85 points here. Mikko Rantanen, 85. Both these guys had a positive plus minus. The team's actually looking pretty solid here. The goaltending numbers were looking a lot better this season based on how many wins we had. Vasilevsky, a 916 to 324. And Freddie Anderson, a 907 and a 349. I can live with that. To finish it all off, we're going to see the Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. But the Rangers really finished dead last there. Like, come on, man. That should never happen. Especially with injuries off. You're telling me the healthy Rangers team is only picking up 28 wins. Like, how does that even happen? So after a season like that, you can clearly tell that we're just 1 or 2 players away. We're almost ready to make the playoffs. We're getting British Columbia once again. Why have we got so many repeats? We've got Alberta twice, British Columbia twice. We definitely shouldn't be getting repeats considering there's like 60 options on this wheel. Now, could have I just made it so we didn't have any repeat locations? Yes, I could have. But I was also under the assumption that would only happen once in the entire video if we were incredibly lucky. Not twice. There is 60 different options. We've got the same location twice on 2 different occasions. But I'm not really going to complain because we have a bunch of great options here. We could bring Morgan Riley to the team. We could bring Shea Theodore, or we could bring Devon Taves. I don't think you really miss with any of those selections. I think we have enough Colorado Avalanche players on the team, so I think we're going to go for Morgan Riley or Shea Theodore. You know what? Shea Theodore's already won a Stanley Cup. Devon Taves has already won a Stanley Cup. Morgan Riley, you're not going to be winning one this season, so maybe you can get one in the simulation. Now, is Morgan Riley going to be enough to get us into the postseason? We have 3 0 overall players left. Jordan NHL, one of them is going to be a defenseman, and then we have 2 forwards here alongside Dawson Mercer. I think we might be able to sneak into a wildcard position now. So I was expecting the team to make some bigger strides. I mean, we are 27th in the entire league, but a 34, 40, and 8 record, I want better than this. It's not that I want better than that, I expect better than that. Like, we're a pretty good team here. Mikko Rantanen, Connor McDavid, Matt Barzal, Braden Point, Cale Makar. What more could I really ask for? I mean, probably not 0 overall players on the team, but you know what? This team has potential to be very good. I think we actually might have made the playoffs if Freddie Anderson didn't play like hot crap the entire year. An 899 to 344. I'm not judging you based on the goals against. I'm judging you based off the save percentage because that gives me a better indicator of how you were this season. An 899 is terrible. Okay, what's with Vancouver all of a sudden winning the Stanley Cup every other year? They're taking home another cup in this video. In franchise mode, this team doesn't win Stanley Cups. In season mode, I guess they win every other year. So Vancouver Canucks fans, if you want to see some success, just simulate a couple seasons in season mode and see what happens. But until then, we're just going to keep on spinning the wheel here. Another defenseman would be ideal, but we do need some forwards for the bottom 6. How did we get another repeat? We got Ontario once again. So we've got Ontario twice, we've got BC twice, and we've got Alberta twice. There is 60 different options here, and we've gotten repeats 3 different times. Like, here's all the options on the wheel. We've got Alberta twice. We've got BC twice. We've got Ontario twice. How are we getting repeats when there is 60 different options? In hindsight, yeah, I guess I should have removed duplicates. But you know what? I thought I'd just keep duplicates in. You get one location twice, you'll be like, whoa, that's wild. How did that happen? I didn't expect it to be this frequent. But am I really going to complain when I get to choose from guys like Steven Stamkos, Claude Giroux, John Tavares? Not at all. So I guess the big decision is, do we bring a forward to the team or do we bring a defenseman? I got to bring Steven Stamkos to the team. We need another forward here. We're going to have 2 0 overall players left, but I do think it will be possible for us to make the playoffs and win a Stanley Cup with 0 overall players on the roster. So it's time for the big push for a Stanley Cup. Connor McDavid, Steven Stamkos, Trocheck, Point, Barzal, Mikko Rantanen. The forward core can score goals here. We got a great bottom 6 barring this one Jordan NHL. The defense is good here. The goaltending is good. Everything about this team is good. We just have to perform this season, make the playoffs, and then go ahead and win the Stanley Cup. Okay, we don't need to spend too much time talking about this season. Mikko Rantanen, 90 points. You had 42 goals and 48 assists. We must have been a great team. Yeah, we don't need to look at the standings. We won 31 games. Let's spin that wheel. Like, you're telling me after adding Steven Stamkos to the team with only 2 0 overall players, we still can't see success. Czechia is going to be giving us an elite player, though. I know that for a fact. So we're just going to say screw defense here. We're still focused on forwards. David Pastrnak, welcome to the team. I'm not even looking at the rest of the names here. I mean, granted, there are some pretty good players, but David Pastrnak's definitely the best. So we might allow goals because the defense is going to be a bit weak. But you know what? We're just going to outscore the other team. That's the plan here. Pasta, Connor McDavid, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, Braden Point, Steven Stamkos. What more could I ask for? So our forward core now consists of all NHL players. We no longer have any 0 overalls. McDavid, Pasta, Rantanen on the first line. Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, Matt Barzal. You better make the playoffs with a team like this. So you're telling me taking one more 0 overall player off our team made us go from being 27th in the entire league to 1st. We have a 49, 25, and 8 record. The offense is flying. The defense is great here. Based on this logic, once we remove that 0 overall player from our team next season, we're going to be winning about 65 games. Now, granted, the offense was flying here. Mikko Rantanen, 104 points. Connor McDavid, 93. Cale Makar, 88. The team was looking fantastic, and so was that goaltending. Vasilevsky, 38 wins, 5 shots, a 917 to 281. It's time for us to show up when it matters most and win a Stanley Cup. And things definitely aren't going to be easy for the Everett Elks in round number 1. We got to take on the LA Kings. Okay, just look at the bracket here. Chicago made the playoffs. The Seattle Kraken made the playoffs. Edmonton missed. Who else made that probably shouldn't have? Toronto missed the playoffs. The Ottawa Senators made it here. This is just a very weird playoff bracket. Okay, yeah, so that was just absolutely embarrassing for the LA Kings. We scored 10 goals in game number 2 and swept them. Okay, so we might have taken down the LA Kings, but more importantly, the Chicago Blackhawks are taking down the Calgary Flames. I really want to meet Chicago in the conference finals. I think that would be hilarious. So not only are the Chicago Blackhawks not making it to the conference finals, but more than likely we're not going to be either. We're down 3-1 in the series. We've got to spark some massive comeback here. Are we going to be able to do that? Nope, because we're allowing 7 goals in game number 6. That was a tough postseason exit for us, but you know what? We're going to add a defenseman to the team, and then we'll be ready to roll. Before we do that, though, I do want to take a look at the scoring here. Rantanen, Pasta, Connor McDavid, of course, they carried the way. The rest of the guys here, a little disappointing. I was expecting more. And the goaltending numbers from Vasilevsky, I need better than a 910 to 289. Like, these aren't awful numbers, but I do need better from you. Now, I could care less who wins the Stanley Cup. We got to add some more players to our team, and we got to win the Stanley Cup ourselves. It looks like we're off to Pennsylvania again. How does this keep happening? And my only issue with Pennsylvania, they don't have any defensemen. So Brandon Saad, Sam Lafferty, Logan Cooley, whoever's the highest overall between you three is going to be joining the team. You know what? I actually don't care who's the highest overall. We need a St. Louis factor on the team. That's what this team's missing right now. We need somebody that can step up when it matters most in the postseason. That's going to be Brandon Saad. So let me remove a 0 overall player. Brandon Saad, welcome to the team here. You're probably going to be the missing piece. You thought Connor McDavid was valuable. You haven't seen Brandon Saad in the postseason. So by adding Brandon Saad to the team, it looks like we're going to be having a healthy scratch here. That's going to be Noel Acciari, or do we just throw Noel Acciari on the defense here? I mean, hear me out. Noel Acciari on the defense, let's do it. Nothing about this video is realistic. I mean, look who we have on this team. Noel Acciari, you're going to play some third pairing minutes for us. Screw it. You're playing second pairing minutes for us. Noel Acciari, the great defenseman. So the Colorado Avalanche might have Cale Makar. The New York Rangers might have Adam Fox. LA Kings got Drew Doughty. The Toronto Maple Leafs got Morgan Riley. Nah. we got Noel Acciari. Second in the entire league, a 52, 24, and 6 record. Noel Acciari's been the savior for our defense. Connor McDavid's leading the way, 101 points. Mikko Rantanen, 101. David Pastrnak, 85. If I search up defenseman, is Noel Acciari going to show up here? No, he's not, because he's not an actual defenseman. But you know what? He's a defenseman at heart. Oh yeah, Vasilevsky, keep on winning games. Now, I was just talking about how Noel Acciari is a better defenseman than Cale Makar. Now it's time to see if that's a fact. Noel Acciari versus Cale Makar in the first round. Noel Acciari, the lockdown defenseman, is absolutely elite right now. We're taking the Colorado Avalanche out in 5 games. Nobody's stopping this team. Now, if we can beat the Colorado Avalanche, then we can certainly beat the Edmonton Oilers. We got them up next. So we might have taken the first 2 games, but Edmonton's going to be responding. We need a Noel Acciari masterclass here. So he's going to be showing up a great defensive performance, only allowing 2 goals. And in game number 6, we're going to be allowing 4, so that means we need game 7. So we need the big time players to make some big time plays here. The Everett Elks taking on the Edmonton Oilers. We're picking up 4 goals in the first period. This game's all over. We're taking it 7-2. So we've made to the conference finals. The Everett Elks taking on the Dallas Stars. Over in the East, we have the Detroit Red Wings taking on the Washington Capitals. That's a very strange conference finals matchup, but it's going to be even stranger when one of those teams makes it to the Stanley Cup final. Yeah, so that happened. Not really going to talk about that one. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel. That was such a tough look. We need a true defenseman though. Noel Acciari can't be carrying the way all the time. We're off to Washington. What makes it even worse is up until that matchup, David Pastrnak was averaging a goal per game. And once again, we're not going to be adding any defensemen to the team. I guess we're going to go with TJ Oshie here, a former St. Louis player. I think that might be the move. I don't really know though. We got TJ Oshie, Tyler Johnson, Derek Ryan, Kyle Yamamoto. TJ Oshie's the best out of these guys, but you know what? It's not going to be helping our defense. Now, it's not like TJ Oshie's a super high overall or anything. He's definitely not the player he used to be. 80 overall TJ Oshie. He's really dropped to an 80 overall. I mean, granted, he is 36 years old. Time's just catching up to him. But TJ Oshie, we got to get you one last Stanley Cup. So TJ Oshie, are you going to be the savior for this team? You're going to play some 4th line minutes with Marco Rossi and Brandon Saad. And you already know what we're doing here. Noel Acciari, you're playing some defensive minutes once again. So it was another incredible season from Everett. Second in the entire league, a 54, 24, and 4 record. The offense is great. The defense is great. We know all of these things. Connor McDavid, 115 points. Rantanen, 111. Passed 111 as well. Nothing can stop us right now except for the goaltending, because we still don't have true defensemen here. We have Noel Acciari playing second pairing minutes. That's not really going to help us. However, if we can outscore the other team, then we're going to be fine. We have the Calgary Flames in the first round. Okay, so when I said our offense just needs to outscore, I didn't mean by this margin. 7 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals. We're picking up goals right now. We're picking them up fast. So we moved on to the second round after sweeping the Calgary Flames, and we're looking to complete another sweep here. We have the Vancouver Canucks to take on. Okay, this is beyond ridiculous. Twice in a row now, we've been swept. We sweep a team, and then we get swept. This is stupid. I don't care who wins the Stanley Cup. I don't care what our scoring is. Give me a defenseman. Where are we off to? Slovenia. Not really too familiar with who's from there. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense on why I couldn't think of a handful of players. When I saw Slovenia, I was thinking of Kopitar, and then I was like, who else is from Slovenia? Nobody. It's just Kopitar. We're not going to be adding a defenseman here. We're just getting an elite 2-way player in Kopitar. Now, I'm serious when I say this. Kopitar, you're a great 2-way player. So how good would you be if you played defense for us? Like, you're an 88 overall, 2-way forward. Your defensive stats here are absolutely impeccable. So how would you be as a defenseman? I think that's what we're going to try. Now, I feel like it would only be fair for me to keep Clevin on our defensive core, seeing as he is a true defenseman. If I rock Noel Acciari and Kopitar, that seems a bit unfair. But yeah, Kopitar, we're about to find out how good of a defenseman you would be. So Kopitar almost made us a 60-win team. Our offense is 4.46 goals per game. Defense is 2.85. I don't care what the numbers here are. I don't care McDavid had 126 points. I don't care Rantanen had 122. I don't care. This team looked absolutely fantastic from top to bottom. There were no weaknesses on this team whatsoever. We have to win in the postseason. We haven't been able to do that the past couple of years. We're going to sweep the Seattle Kraken in the first round. The second round conference finals, though, that's when the real teams show up. Okay, we're not losing in the first round. Game 5, what's going to be happening here? We're winning this one, and we got to win game 6 here. We just got to keep the momentum going. We won in 6 games. We're moving on to the second round, and now we have the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton's going to be a tough matchup. You know, they got Connor McDavid. They got Leon Draisaitl. We're not getting swept. I'm happy about that, but we split the series. Who's going to be taking game 5? It looks like it's us. Can we close out in game number 6 here? It looks like we need game 7. So here we go. Game 7. The Everett Elks taking on the Edmonton Oilers. This game's over. We picked up 6 goals in the first period. We're winning 7-3. So I don't want to look at the playoff bracket here. We're looking good right now. We're not getting swept. I thought we were going to get swept. We lost game number 1. For some reason, this team gets swept way too often. We split the series with Colorado. Who's winning Game 5? It's going to be us. Close out in Game 6, make it to the Stanley Cup final. Here we go. We made it to the Stanley Cup final. Who are we taking on? The Tampa Bay Lightning. Vasilevsky versus Vasilevsky. Who's going to be coming out on top? I mean, our offense is unstoppable, and it looks like that's going to help us win a Stanley Cup. The Everett Elks have finally done it. Kopitar, you're an absolute hero. But it wasn't just Kopitar. Connor McDavid, 33 points here. Passes picking up 28 points. He had 16 goals. Rantanen looked great. Cale Makar looked great. But where is Kopitar? I need to know what he did for this team. He had 7 points here. What an absolute magnificent defenseman this man is right here. We needed somebody to hold it down defensively, and he was the guy for us. The goaltending numbers, not the greatest in the world, but not the worst from Vasilevsky. 15 wins, 1 shutout, a 915, a 263. You know what? They're good enough to help us win a Stanley Cup, so I guess I'll take it.